Hello, my name's Adam Kaplan, and this is Unique Sales Professionals Negotiation Skills Training. Let me first ask you, what is negotiation? Because it isn't just high-powered deals hammered out around a boardroom table, or tense, high-stakes peace negotiations, or even tough-talking union leaders angling for a pay increase or improved working hours for their members. A good negotiator is an ordinary person who has learnt the skills that's going to help him turn a seemingly futile situation into one that he can take advantage of or profit from, or somebody that can facilitate a discussion between two parties who cannot reach agreement on an issue. It's not necessarily a self-serving act. For example, a father selling a family home, the whole family benefits if he gets a good deal, not just him. And there's many other community-based negotiations that can occur that actually help the wider community, not just the person doing the negotiation. So the objectives of this course is to help you develop and rediscover your innate negotiation ability so that you can do a number of things. Firstly, to ensure that you can get what you want or need from somebody else that controls what you want. Secondly, you can confront all types of people confidently and easily without having to be aggressive or harsh. Thirdly, it allows you to delegate your work or handle people trying to delegate to you. Fourth, it can help you convince somebody to do something or actually convince them not to do something. You can also use negotiation to get people to readily agree to your point of view easily and without having to force the issue. You can use negotiation to help you to get the best price when buying something or selling something, or maybe when you're paying somebody for their work, or even if you're securing finance or arranging repayments on something. Ultimately, negotiation can help you deal with confrontation and confrontational people both at work and at home. So let's look at when we negotiate. And the question I want to ask you is, when do we negotiate? And what are the instances in which negotiation happens? Let's start with work. So at work, if you're involved with sales, clearly you're going to be involved with negotiation. And the same thing if you're involved in purchasing. Obviously, you're going to be looking to get the best rate for your business, whether you're selling or you're buying. But what if you're in accounts, for example? You're going to want your customers to pay you as quickly as possible, and you're going to want to handle your suppliers and get preferential rates with them. What if you're in HR? In human resources, you're going to be negotiating with managers, with new employees, with employees that are leaving, with employees that want holiday days. There's a whole host of elements of human resources that involve negotiation. In fact, at any aspect in the working day, it's likely you'll be involved in negotiation at some point. What about at home? Is there negotiation with your partner or your spouse? Do you have negotiation with your children? If you live at home with your parents still, are you negotiating with them? What about if you have a dog? Although, if you have a dog that's anything like my dog, there are no negotiations. I do exactly what he wants me to do. But generally, in terms of how we negotiate at home, it could be, what are we doing this weekend? Where are we going on our holiday? What are we going to do with our free time? Who are we going to see? What events are we going to go to? A whole host of negotiations occur. Look at our social life. When we go out with friends, do we negotiate what sort of relationships we have with them? Ultimately, all negotiation involves you wanting to gain something, whether that's increased earnings, more sales, more free time, a better quality of life. Everything you do in negotiation involves you negotiating a better solution, a better life, an easier life. Actually, good negotiation means you have less stress. Less stress means you enjoy life more, and that means there's more fun. And I think that's something well worth negotiating for. Now, the next stage of negotiation is understanding when negotiation actually happens, learning to identify negotiation situations. You see, the thing is that often people lose in negotiation because they're not aware that the negotiation has even started. Now, I don't like to use the term win and lose in negotiation because good negotiation is win-win. Having a loser in negotiation means that actually the negotiation's failed. You might be the one that won that negotiation, but the fact that the other person feels that they lost means that you could have negotiated things better so that you would both win and both have a positive feel from the event. And that's what I consider good negotiation to be. So when people lose negotiation, it's usually because they're not even aware negotiations had started. And that's a real problem for people if they're going to be involved in a negotiation. You must be aware that negotiation happens all the time. So how can we be aware how often negotiation is happening? So let's look at some examples. Say your child comes to you and says, I must have the latest gaming console, but you don't particularly want to buy them at this point in time. How you negotiate that with the child is reflective on how good a negotiator you are. For example, if you just turned around and said, no, I said that you're not having it and that's the end of it, then you've taken a very hard and harsh negotiating stance. You might win that negotiation, but the child will feel that they've lost, and that's not great negotiation. There are ways to negotiate that difficult situation without necessarily having a winner and a loser. What if your partner or spouse wants to buy something that you consider unsuitable or perhaps is too expensive, and you wish for them not to buy that without necessarily having them unhappy with you? A win-win would be whether both parties are happy in that negotiation. Let's imagine an example where a garage is working on your car, but afterwards it appears that the work hasn't been completed correctly. You've got to negotiate with the garage to get them to redo the work at no extra charge. What if you're unhappy with your work situation? Say you're unhappy with the work hours, unhappy with overtime, unhappy with a lack of free time. Perhaps you're unhappy with the work conditions. Negotiating an improvement for you is a key aspect of your existence, isn't it? What about dealing with difficult friends or family? We all have people we know that are overbearing and take up a lot of your time. Negotiating them is a key life tool. What if, for example, you're trying to get out an event that you don't wish to go to without upsetting that person? Again, negotiation can help you there. So, as we start this negotiation journey, the very first thing we need to assess is where you are now. And so we have 4 assessments that we'd like you to take before you get into the meat and drink of the training course, and then you can take those 4 assessments again at the end. And the reason we do this is because we want you to know where you are now so that you can see where you've grown to at the end of the course. Because no journey can start without a starting point, and this will be your starting point. And the 4 assessments coming up are: what is your potential as a negotiator? How comfortable are you currently with negotiation? What do you think makes a good negotiator? And how good a negotiator do you think you are at the moment? Good luck with the assessments, and I look forward to seeing you shortly. Thank you.